So thank you everyone for coming to this space together. My name is Amy Kornicki, in case any of you don't know who I am. If you're a visitor or watching this replay, I am a certified regenerative health practitioner. I'm a clinical iridologist. I read eyes. I'm a sound healer, a Reiki master. I own a holistic practice called Regenerative Vibration based in Taos, New Mexico. And I love all things health and regenerative health and new technology. So it's really my passion to teach people that suffering is optional and we can regenerate our bodies at the cellular level and reverse chronic diagnoses or symptomology. I want to be careful about the terms that we're gonna use on this call. Um, Myself, I actually came from an environment of being diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, and I've dealt with a lot of mental health issues and other chronic pain conditions. And I was told these conditions were not curable, but treatable. And I had this diagnosis of fibromyalgia, neuropathy, migraines, depression, anxiety, um, back from high school to when I was 30. And it really took me a good 10 years of working with Western medicine, Western doctors, specialists, and actually literally working in the marketing field for big pharma to finally just see that there had to be a better way to deal with what I was going through. There just had to be something to just did not feel satisfied with what they were telling me. So I didn't know what that really looked like or what it was going to be. But I just started this path of holistic healing, and I worked with a few different specialists, but I was mostly on my own. And my last stop was really finding regenerative detoxification, because when I found that, I was able to reverse every condition in my body. So since then, I've really pushed myself to become an athlete. Um, I've skied over 60 days this season, and it's really been amazing to see what can happen when you change your diet and change your life. So it's become my life's work to learn as much as I can to be able to teach others about their health and their bodies and what is possible. So I've trained in regenerative health, herbalism, I read eyes, and I really am understanding how to repair the body with a combination of regenerative detoxification, regenerative nutrition, and regenerative science now. So that's what we're really here to bring you today is some of our newer regenerative science that I'm working with now. Specifically, I've brought on a special guest, Debbie Wetzler, who has been using this product. She's an entrepreneur all her life, been using this and teaching about redox signaling molecules for about 13 years now. So she's got a lot of knowledge and background on this subject. Redox signaling molecules, they are an important piece of our overall vitality, health, and life length as well. So these are something that our body actually produces naturally. It's in our body. I won't get deep into the science. I'm going to let Debbie do that. But our body loses 1% of our redox signaling molecules every year. So that's about 10% per decade of our lives. I don't know about you, but I'm not getting any younger. So we have to do what we can do, right, to stay young and revitalize and regenerate. So this is part of our body's information center. It's not only an output of ATP out of the Krebs cycle, but it's also information for the cells so that the cells know how to behave, how to perform, how to balance hormones, so on and so on. So as we start to lose the cellular communication, we start to see cells lose their way. So everything in our body is made of cells. We have 75 trillion cells and two fluids, blood and lymph. Blood feeds, lymph cleans, and in between, there's a whole lot of cells that actually only know how to behave via these redox signaling molecules and the bacteria that's present in our body. So I've designed this call for our clients that have already started with superfoods. Some of you are thriving. Some of you, I feel like you are at this hump where you need a little something extra, or just to get more consistent, see more results faster, to be more consistent. Um, honestly redoing some of these protocols that I've since learning more and more from the Institute of Regenerative Health, that maybe this and like the zeolites that we're going to be talking about next week on a call might even be a good starting place for some people that are dealing with a little more um, toxicity, and maybe they're not ready to um, go diving into a 90-day cleanse. So without further ado, I just would like to introduce Debbie. And I just think it's really important that we all are aware of what is going on with technology and health so that we know that there's other solutions that we can share and pass on to people that we love and care about. So, Debbie, thank you so much for being here. I'll turn it over to
Of
you.
course. Well, thank you. And thank you all for your time. I know everyone's usually very busy. And so we thank you for listening and just perhaps having an open mind, because I'm about to talk about something that you probably have never heard of. And it was what Amy brought up, redox signaling molecules. And I learned about it because I went on a quest. I did the same thing. My dad was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, and he was dead within a month, thanks to chemo and radiation. And it was at that point that I thought, okay, I've got to find something that will really help people. That's something I always wanted to do. So I went from being an interior designer, owning my own business, to going into the health field. And I started looking for things that would really get to the core of cellular health, that would really help people. Not drugs and surgery are necessary sometimes, but that's all we seem to get thrown at us when we go to doctors. So I wanted to look at something that would really help people thrive. And so I found some things and I met a lot of people, and it eventually led me to this. And so I'll just start by saying how I learned about it. I learned about it from a girlfriend in Colorado. I was living in Maryland at the time. I now live in Colorado. And she called me to tell me that there had been a breakthrough. It had saved 3 of her best friends' lives, and my name had popped into her head the night before. So she knew she was meant to call me. And she called at just the right time for me for many reasons, but I'll just go into the one aspect. I had just learned my mom had several different bad health issues, heart issues, breathing issues, neurological issues, joint issues, a lot of different things. And she never complained, so I never knew about any of them. And so I watched this video, and it was all about redox, which I'm about to describe to you. And I thought, man, if this is true, that these are made in your body and they've been able to make this identical same molecules, because your body makes these out of salt and water, which is what is in every cell of your body. And I'll describe that process. It's not salt water anymore, but it's redox molecules. So the first name I needed to know for myself if this was real, because I'd never heard of them. And I am into science to some degree. So I called a very close girlfriend. I was just texting with her. She was very smart. She graduated from Johns Hopkins as a molecular biologist and had gotten a job at the National Institutes of Health in the mental division, doing research and studies and overseeing studies. And I asked her if I could come over because I needed to learn more about this if it was true. And I drove to her house. I put the information down in front of her, and I'll never forget the look on her face. She looked at me with eyes about this big and almost fell off her chair. And she said, Debbie, I've been studying these molecules 17 years. And this was 13 years ago. She said, we've had scientists from around the world come to NIH to try to do this. You're telling me that somebody was finally able to stabilize these molecules outside the human body in a bioactive form? And when I told her yes, she said, you have no idea how massive this is. This will change the medical field as you know it. Those were her words. And she said, I just happened to have this textbook. It was a big, thick textbook. She had brought it home that weekend to do more research. She usually kept it at work to do research. And she opened it. Literally every page was about redox. I'm looking at this. And she was the first one to tell me that these molecules, and I'll just describe what they are at this point. They're made, like Amy said, during the Krebs cycle. What that means is when the mitochondria in your cells that take the food you eat and turn it into energy, that's the Krebs cycle, although it's very complicated. During that cycle, the mitochondria throw off redox signaling molecules. And for years before 1990, they thought it was waste material, so they didn't pay any attention to it. So doctors haven't been studying it. Then they got instruments sophisticated enough to be able to see the molecules and also video them so that they could tell where they were going, what they were doing. And not only did they find they were foundational to your health, that they were very necessary to you even living. And so what they found, it's a combination of words, reductants and oxidants. And so if you talk to a doctor, that's what they'll know. Reductants go out and they turn on and activate the antioxidants in your body. So all those blueberries and broccoli and everything else that you eat, all your superfoods are turned on by these molecules and made to work. You also produce master antioxidants. And there's 3 of them, glutathione, SOD, and catalase. We make that, and they do so many powerful things in your body. Glutathione is what detoxifies us and lets us get rid of all the waste. And we found that by taking and adding extra redox molecules to your body, by drinking these, it turns on your glutathione levels by about 800%. So you're able to do that much more, and it helps with the efficiency of it. And so it starts detoxifying you the minute you start drinking it. So we always tell people to drink more water with it. And the SOD and catalase, it raises them by about 500%, which is all very powerful. Glutathione, low glutathione levels are linked to over 255 diseases. The oxidant part are what allow the cells to communicate. So your cells are always communicating. That's why your blood's pumping and you don't have to think about it. That's why you're breathing and you don't have to think about it, because your cells are communicating. We are meant to be healthy all the time. And in a healthy person, as you know, cancer's always everywhere, present in your body usually, but your body, if it's healthy, takes care of that. That's because these redox molecules go to that. Find any damaged cell. That's what they're looking for, any damaged cell. Tells that cell to kill itself off if it's too badly damaged. Or it tells the immune system where it is so the immune system can repair it. So these are the molecules that let any damaged cell in your body be turned around and regenerated. And so that's their job. And as Amy already stated, we start losing the mitochondria that produces the energy. So even a 5-year-old runs around all day with no energy, and they don't wake up sore the next day. They never have aching backs. They can't go out and play, all that kind of stuff. So we start losing the mitochondria and the redox molecules at a rate of 1% per year. So even as a teenager, if you go work out in a gym and you push yourself a little bit too far, you wake up sore the next day. You're already not healing as quickly. So you can imagine when you get into your 60s and 70s, the healing process has greatly slowed down, because now you're at about 10% of what you used to make as a 5-year-old. So this is the first time in the history of mankind that we've been able to reintroduce redox molecules back into the body and let the body start healing faster, start aging kind of backwards, because this is regenerating cells faster, like when you were a child. And they're meant to keep your cells healthy for the length of time that they're supposed to be healthy. But due to stress and toxins and everything, they get killed off a lot faster than they're supposed to. So my girlfriend tells me all this and tells me that also they're so tiny, they're 4 atoms big or smaller. They're meant to go through the blood-brain barrier. And she listed them, but I won't list them here to be compliant. But all the mental problems that people have, these molecules are meant to go into your brain and find those damaged cells and allow your brain to be healthy also. And I just stood there with my mouth open going, holy cow, this is huge. And she goes, yes. And she got on it that night, and she drove to my house to tell my 2 young children at the time, they were in their 20s, early 20s, to get on the product. She said, I wish I'd found this when I was in my 20s. It keeps your cells healthy for the length of time, like I just stated that it's supposed to be, and it will prevent things from having things that you never knew you would have had. And so both of my children have been on the product for 13 years also. So just for the people who are visual learners like I am, I was just going to share a few slides to show you some before and after shots and things like that, if you don't mind. And I'll state again that these are redox signaling molecules. And so it has nothing to do with nutrition. The superfoods that you're eating are great. These will help you absorb them better and use them better. So redox molecules are not vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, exotic juices, essential oils, or CBD oil. It's none of that, but it has some of the same effects as that. It goes way beyond nutrition and helps your body heal. They're meant to balance literally every system in your body, because that's when you're healthy. If your endocrine system and your cardiovascular and your nervous system, if they're all healthy and in balance and they're working properly, like Amy with her immune system, that needed to be in balance for her to be healthy. But these are the molecules that allow that to happen. So this is the first and only redox signaling molecule supplement. This was a huge area of science. It's just that our company learned about it and was able to tap into it and stabilize them. So now we've protected ourselves with 23 patents and over 200 trade secrets. So it's like the Coca-Cola formula. Nobody will know how we did it, at least. So virtually, these are the foundation to your trillions of cells that Amy was talking about. These are what keeps the cells healthy, which keeps your tissues healthy and your organs and your systems and you healthy. And they go to literally, like I said, every cell in your body and helps regenerate those if they're damaged. So the way your body does it, and the identical way that we do it in our plant, in our factory, is that the body takes the salt and the water. It breaks apart the salt into sodium and chloride. Now you've got 2 atoms. It breaks the water into hydrogen and oxygen, so another 2 atoms. It reconfigures those into many different types of redox, such as O2, which is superoxide, or H2O2, which is hydrogen peroxide. And they are the ones that go to find damaged cells. The minute they send the signal to the immune system, they turn right back into salt water. So your body has plenty of building material to build them with. We just start losing the mitochondria that make them. And the signals get weaker as you grow older also. So since pictures are worth 1,000 words, thought I'd show you what's happening on the outside by using the redox molecules. The same thing's happening on the inside, only we don't show pictures of your organs necessarily, but doctors who have scoped people have come back and said your organs are as pink as a baby's. So we made a gel form out of it after the liquid about 4 years later. These molecules are so reactive that the minute you put them in your mouth and swish it around, the receptors under your tongue take it right into the cell membrane walls. It doesn't go down your digestive esophagus or tract. That starts a cascading effect because those cells start telling the other cells what to do until your whole body is covered. So they found a very benign clay that they could mix it with to make it so that you could apply it to the outside of your body. So they gave us a contest when they first started. This was 2014. Take a before picture, and then 28 days later, take an after picture after using this twice a day, the gel. We use it for almost everything, but of course, wrinkles are damaged cells also. And you can see these. So this was just 21 days. This is a friend of mine from Sweden. She used it for 21 days. Her neck went from looking like that to that naturally. This is just enabling her cells on her skin to to function and be healthy again. This man is a research veterinarian, another friend of mine, Dr. Marty. He lives in Maryland, and he did something only a man would do. He put it on half of his face. And but he's a researcher, so he wanted the same cells and the same age cells. So you could really tell the difference in the side that he put it on with the depth of his wrinkles. He's become pretty famous in ASEA because of this photo. The wrinkles on this side are very deep. This side, not so much, because he's already started healing. This man had a heel crack, and literally in just 1 week, after months of having it, it is healed, thanks to the communication going on. This woman had puffiness under her eyes and wrinkles around her lips, and she healed. This lady had a disease, which I won't mention, but it caused this to happen to her skin. And after just 2 months of using it, you can't even tell that she ever had it. This man had a skin tag. Those are damaged cells. They got the communication to kill themselves off because they're not supposed to be there. And within 16 days, it was gone. This lady has a rash that I had that makes it itchy and red, and there's nothing for it in medicine. But after just 3 weeks of using the gel form of this, it was almost gone. And then our poster woman is Rosie, and she was 84 and didn't look so great, didn't look so healthy. And she had seen what these molecules did for her son in a very bad car accident, brought him back to life. And so she started drinking it and using the gel. And she just said, she went back 7 weeks later and said, I feel amazing on this. I just don't see a difference in the way I look. And thank heavens he'd taken a before photo because it's so subtle. When you're looking at yourself, you don't notice it. So that's why we always tell people to take a before photo. And then 2 years later, she looked even better. 3 years, now she's 90, and the life's back in her face and the twinkle's back in her eye. And she just looks amazing, I think, as compared to what she did start with. And this isn't only good for people with health issues. It's good for everyone, basically. My kids didn't have any issues at the time, but my son was training for the Marine Corps Marathon, and he literally, after drinking this, took 4 minutes off his half marathon time. Because what this does is you go into fatty acid metabolism within about 30 minutes of drinking it. Now you're burning the fatty acids around your abdomen and your organs, which athletes love. It's leaving the glycogen in their muscle and their brains where it's needed. And it's completely safe, again, non-toxic. Once you drink it, you can't find it in your body since it's identical to what your body makes. So it's been approved by WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, and the Olympic Training Committee. So we've had 2 gold medal Olympic swimmers that have been on it for years. She we're very proud of. She, in her 70s, she started working out thanks to ASEA because she felt like it. You have about 29% more endurance. Mice ran 29% longer for no reason. And she just really felt good. So now she's become the world Ironman champion in her age group after starting on this, because that's what it helps you do. It also can raise VO2 levels by about 12%. That's the volume of oxygen before you hit the wall. And athletes use steroids illegally and maybe get 3%. This natively raises it by about 12. This is what I'm not going to go into each one of these at all. These are all the science places that we've taken these that have done tests and studies with our product. We're having universities come to us now and ask us if they can do research. We're working with several universities who are doing all kinds of research with this because they've seen what it's done over the past 14 years. I will just show you this one, Torrent Labs. They do the testing for ancestry. So we took this to them and said, do redox molecules do anything for genetic pathways, telling your cells what to do? And so they gave it to 35-year-old men and women, and they were all healthy. And they gave half of them salt water, which is what we're made fun of sometimes. They gave the other half ASEA, redox molecules. They gave 10 of them nothing as a baseline. And that turned on many genetic pathways after 8 weeks. of drinking 8 ounces a day. However, it really turned on 5 genetic pathways extraordinarily, 20 to 31%, which doctors were blown away by. So those were the immune system, pathway, inflammatory response, cardiovascular and arterial elasticity, healthy digestive and gut health, and hormone modulation. And each one of those affects many other genetic pathways in your body. So the hormone one, these are all the things that they affect. You've got serotonin. It releases serotonin. You're just kind of happy on this. And it's helped many people with feeling down. Circadian rhythm, so it helps you sleep like a baby. It really gets you into a very deep sleep. The NRF2 pathway, which is oxidative stress. Now we've done 2 studies that prove that this greatly reduces oxidative stress, which causes a lot of disease. Ovarian infertility, we have many stories on that. Human thyroid stimulation, many stories on that. Insulin signaling, many stories on that. Sudden infant death, and spinal cord injury. We've seen it all. Just to show you how big the science is, my girlfriend actually sent me the first one. 5 years after we started, they sent 10.5 million to the Medical University of South Carolina to open a Redox research center. And then they followed that with Cornell. And then Harvard, Wake Forest, Cornell, Vanderbilt, University of Virginia, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Colorado, Stanford, Rochester, all have opened redox signaling molecules. And any young medical student you talk to will know what redox signaling molecules are. They're studying it at every university. They don't know it's been stabilized, and they don't know what it does when you reintroduce it back into the body until we educate them about it. There's a annual World Redox Congress. I have the 2023 version of that. It's still in Paris. Doctors and scientists from around the world fly in to Paris to see what new news there are about redox. And on my last slide, everyone Googles everything, and you will find good and bad about this on Google. There are pharmaceutical people trying to put us out of business, so they will put up anything they want. So I will just warn you about that. If you want some actual information, if you go to scholar.google.com, there's about 1.6 million articles about redox signaling molecules that are factual. They have to test those facts. And then this is where all the doctors go to do their research, the National Library of Medicine, pubmed.gov. If you type in redox signaling molecules, it varies. You can type in redox signaling and get more and less or something like that. But I've found from 37,000 to 523,000. I was in the Philippines and looked it up. Medical studies done with redox signaling molecules. So you can type in redox signaling in anything you want, MS, Parkinson's, whatever, and see the studies that have been done with that. We've had it validated to be redox by many universities ourselves, along with the Human Performance Lab at North Carolina, and then companies that we take it to now that verify it to be redox. That's what they do for a living. So now I'm just here. My job was to educate you. I'm here to answer any questions you might have, and no question is too silly. I asked a million questions when I first learned about this. So if you have any, please feel free.
So I was thinking with the thyroid problem, it's the only thing that my doctor said in any situation that wouldn't be able to be reversed and or healed. So how does that go along?
Let me just tell you that when you reintroduce these molecules, it's done things that doctors never thought they would see. And I could list a lot of them. I took one doctor up to Canada. We were going to speak about it. And he'd gotten it on a man who had a neurological issue that couldn't walk very well. And his arms would move everywhere and he couldn't smile anymore. He hadn't been able to play the guitar in 7 years. So I think you probably know what that is, but I'm not supposed to say it. And he had gotten this product on him a month earlier. So he asked me if I would go with him, and we go to the house and we knock on the door expecting his wife to answer. He answers the door, fully walking, fully smiling, grabbing this doctor's arm, and his first name was Robert. And he was thanking Bob and pulling him back. And he goes, oh, and I've got to show you what I can do. And he pulls him into the back room, a little recording room, and he starts strumming the guitar, which he hadn't done in 7 years. And when we get out, after seeing all that, I'm jumping up and down, because this is when I first got in, basically. And I said, we really don't know what we have our hands on. And I looked at this doctor, and he was ashen gray. And I was like, Bob, what's wrong? And he looked me dead in the eye and just said, Debbie, you don't understand. Doctors just don't see things like this. He was so shaken, I had to walk him to the car and drive him home that day. So this has done things, it's helped the body regenerate things that doctors don't think can be regenerated. And we've seen it for 13 years. So many different things. For instance, another girlfriend had polio when she was very young, and she was 65 when I introduced this to her, and her leg was smaller, which you can imagine why. Her muscles had atrophied and stuff. And she starts drinking this, and everything starts regenerating. And her foot stopped dropping. She grew muscle mass back. The doctors told her never to expect that. And she's extraordinarily happy. She's been on it, I don't know, 8 years at this point. So thyroid I'm a testimonial to that. I had low thyroid when I started. We've had people that have gotten off their medicines, but mine greatly reduced my medicine because I've been on it for so long.
For a thyroid issue, what would you usually recommend? Like, what would be the protocol for that?
You take the amount, I mean, it suggests 4 ounces on the bottle is what it suggests. But we found over time that, older people, especially who have lost more, tend to need more. So I drink 8 ounces on a regular basis. And this went right to my thyroid. It went to my eyes because I'd worn glasses my whole life. I don't wear glasses. I haven't worn them in 10 years at this point. And it's reversed a lot of things in me. So it depends on your age and what you've got happening. So if you've got something that's threatening your vitals, we would probably have you drink more until your body was capable of healing itself because of these tools. Robin, if you're talking, you're muted. I see your lips moving.
Can you hear me, Debbie?
There we are.
There we are.
There, I'm unmuted.
Yes, I can hear you too, Harold. Go ahead, Robin, and then we'll go to Harold.
I was going to say, if you're a broken down old wreck and you have a number of things going on, how does it? I mean, how do you know what kind of a protocol as far as? And when you say older and 8 ounces at a time, how often?
Well, we usually drink it twice a day, and unless, of course, I always consult. I do a health benchmark form, kind of like Amy would do if you go in, and I get down with your energy, your joint discomfort, your back discomfort, muscle discomfort, mental focus, all that stuff, and we rate them. And then you start drinking it, and these molecules are directed by your body to go to your vital organs first. So your heart, kidney, liver, and digestive gut health. And it'll go there first because those are vital. And then it starts going everywhere else after that to kind of heal things, basically. And so my mother had, I don't know, I think it was 11 things that she had issues with, and she was 88, so a lot older than you are. And her body, this was my first person I ever got it on, and her body healed itself of all those issues. And I was flabbergasted. Again, the doctors never expected her to heal from any of that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so And so I always start people with 4 ounces because it detoxifies you. And make sure you're drinking a lot of extra water to begin with, because most people don't drink enough water, because that flushes out the toxins. So this is one of the best detoxers you can ever have. And then after about a week, if you're feeling okay, because we just don't want you to go through a heavy detox unless you want to, then you can go up to 8 ounces. If doctors and scientists have found that 8 ounces is probably the best for about 45-year-olds or above, because that's about half your life, and you've lost half of your redox molecules at that point. So your body just heals and responds better with 8 ounces.
Hey, Debbie, I'm going to
thanks.
stop the recording and let
Sure.
everyone else ask. And if we want to talk a little broader, then we're not recorded.
Okay,
So
perfect.
thank you so much.